Local community leaders came together Tuesday night at a meeting at Miami High School, held to help the community heal in the wake of the shocking Jammerz Bar shootings over a week ago on Sunday, November 11th. Globe Mayor Al Gameros shared the importance of reaching out and standing together.
On behalf of the City of Globe, our City Council and our City staff, our deepest condolences to the families and friends that lost their loved ones in this horrific tragedy. Christy, Ashley, and Daniel. And our prayers continue for the continued healing of Charlie. It is unthinkable that an incident like this would happen in our community, but it shows that we are not shielded from this type of violence just because we live in a small town. This was not a racial event. It was a brutal, evil, senseless act by an individual, one that has no place in our civilized society. My niece at 22 years old was murdered. She was murdered 3 years ago in Mesa, and it was a murder-suicide. And I saw what it did to his family, to my brother's family. I saw what it did to all the extended family and friends. It was devastating, and we had to reach out for help beyond our family. When a horrific tragedy strikes, especially in a small community where we know everybody, it affects us all. It has been amazing this past week, the people that have reached out, from our local agencies to people throughout the Arizona, from different mayors. We have organizations from Mesa and Tempe here that have brought their teams up here to help us out. This is a time to stand together and to console and to support each other.
Globe Police Chief Dale Walters thanked San Carlos Apache Tribe Chairman Terry Rambler for his help in apprehending the shooter, and he offered advice to the public.
In a community like this, we have to depend on each other. And I will tell you, standing here in front of you right now, that the first thing I want to do is thank the chairman for his work and his people's efforts in us bringing this suspect into custody where he sits today. So it's that type of partnership. The second thing I would tell you is don't be afraid. Globe is a marvelous community. We just happen to have had a tragic incident. How we deal with it is not only coming together the night after, the week after the tragedy, but staying together. And every day, the survivors of this horrific event need our support. And for our success in the future, we have to remember that our partnerships, both within the community and the outlying communities, is critical for our success. So we have to maintain that vision moving forward. And the best thing I could tell you is don't be afraid. Don't let the actions of a crazed individual dictate how you live your life.
San Carlos Apache Reservation religious leader Gary McPherson opened the meeting, stressing the need for unity.
Because of the tragedy that happened is the reason why we're here tonight. It shook up the community, and it kind of woke me up about what's happening all over the world and in our very own community here. We need to get our minds ready and our hearts set to unite in unity, because that's what this is all about. We forget that we are all one people. There is no difference. In our Master's eyes, he sees no difference. We're all the same. We should be doing this all the time, getting together, trying to figure out what's going to make things better for all of us, every community. We have no vision anymore. We've gotten too comfortable. We need to delete that old negative stuff and be reprogrammed with positiveness, with one main thing, love for one another. We've got to get ourselves back straight on the path. And the path that I'm talking about is the path of righteousness. We've got to get ourselves back on the right path. And to get on that path, we got to have some vision. Like I said, not just our leaders, but the whole communities, all the communities together. We've got to have some vision and wisdom so that we could be the people, the children that God intended for us to be from the very beginning.
Miami Mayor Darrell Daly said a divided public is not the answer.
It's going to take a long time, and that's our justice system to have justice take care of this man who committed this crime. And he'll get his due justice. It's not something that we can control. Let it do itself. We don't need to be protesting out there and talking about hang him, shoot him, or whatever. The justice system is going to do itself. We got to believe in our system, because we're going to believe in each other on bringing this community closer together.
San Carlos Apache Tribe Chairman Terry Rambler emotionally informed the community that this was not a racial incident.
I want to offer my condolences to the families of all those affected by what has happened. At a critical time like this in our lives, we're left asking, what do we do now? This is a time to come together. This is a time to mourn. This is a time to support the families and friends that lost their loved ones and give them not just condolences, but a helping hand. We need to let them know that their communities are behind them. We all must also recognize that this was not a racial event. Instead, it was an act perpetrated by one man for a reason we probably cannot and never will understand. It was a brutal, senseless act. Acts of violence of any kind have no place in our society. Violence only serves to divide. Hatred and retribution only serve to divide. We cannot condone violence of any kind. This is not the time for anger or retribution. Justice will prevail. That is the solemn promise of the law. We share common hopes and dreams for both our children and ourselves. We can choose to stand together. After all, despite all our differences, we are one people. We are Americans.